Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host, Ray Flowers. Today, on the eve of the 2010 baseball season, I thought I would give 4 guys I consider buying low on and 4 guys I would consider selling high on as we enter the first week of the season. First guy on the list is Nate McLouth of the Braves. He's an outfielder. He's basically been a 2020 option the past 2 years. Not a lot of hype around him coming into the year, probably because of a little bit of a low batting average. He's really struggled, looked awful so far this spring. Now he's got a bit of a hamstring problem. Don't look for the preseason to carry on or for that hamstring injury to be major. I think McLouth is still a great option to take in the middle rounds. Still got a great chance to go 2020 with the 100 runs scored. Don't sleep on Nate McLouth even with the slow start to the season. Another outfielder, another 2020 player, in fact a guy who went 2020 in 2007 and 2008, is Corey Hart of the Brewers. Now, Corey Hart had a lost season last year. He had the appendectomy. He really struggled when he was on the field. Coming into this season, a lot of people were looking at him as a sleeper-type candidate. That's flip-flopped, and at this point, everyone's running very, very quickly from Corey Hart. He's had a terrible spring, just like McLouth. He apparently, at this point, is almost in a platoon situation. They're considering playing Edmonds with Hart in a platoon. Now the rumors have come out that the Brewers are thinking about exploring an opportunity of adding Jermaine Dye to the lineup. In fact, they've actually offered him a deal that he turned down. The thought then being that the Brewers might trade Nate McLouth to the Washington Nationals, who need an outfielder after basically going to a platoon with the loss of Elijah Dukes. I still think Corey Hart has a good season. I still think he's got a good shot to go 2020 this year. He's streaky. He's got his faults, but he's still a guy that can be very effective in the fantasy game. And considering how cheap he's going to start going in drafts if you still haven't gone, give a good close eye to Corey Hart. Mike Aviles is the next guy on the list, the third of the 4 guys I'm going to suggest buying or holding on to early on in the 2010 season. And the reason for that is simple. The guy can hit. He had .325 a couple years ago. Last season really struggled. Had Tommy John surgery, wiped out basically half the season, and was also an explanation for why he had so much trouble at the plate early in the year. Can he be a 300 hitter at the major league level? I absolutely think he can be a 300 hitter at the major league level. The question is his arm healthy enough to play shortstop? Right now they're not sure about that. That will have a bearing and an effect on how often he plays, especially during the season. Now, they've got Yuniesky Betancourt at shortstop there in Kansas City. He's terrible. He's an average fielder, average hitter at best. He's basically a replacement level type guy. Vias has definitely got a better bat than him. You've got Chris Getz at second base, who's unproven at the major league level. He's got a lot of speed, but we're not quite certain what he's going to do. You've got injuries right now to guys like Alberto Callaspo, Josh Fields, Alex Gordon. Bottom line is that infield's in a lot of turmoil right now. It really remains to be seen how it's going to play out long term. Aviles is hitting over 400 in the spring, looked very good. Even though that arm hasn't been strong enough for him to be an everyday shortstop, he should still see plenty of early season work, and I think he's a great option in AL-only leagues. Don't forget about him late. And then fourthly, Lance Berkman. Had the knee surgery. He's going to miss the first, 10 days or so of the regular season. Everyone's panicking and running away from this guy. Don't be overly concerned. The knee issue is not a major one. He'll miss a week to 10 days. Should be back in the lineup soon. No reason to think he still can't hit 25 homers with 90 RBIs this year. Don't be afraid of Lance Berkman. On the downside, 4 guys I'd suggest getting rid of at the moment. Number 1 is Fausto Carmona. Had a great spring. His ball moves all over the place. When he is on, he's almost impossible to hit. We saw it a couple years ago when he won the 19 games. Had an ERA in the low 3s for the Indians. Last 2 seasons, he's been all over the place. His ERA's been about 6. His whip has been well over 1.5. He's walked more than 5 guys per 9 innings. In fact, the last 2 years, his strikeout to walk ratio is about 1. Major league average is about 2, so not very good with Carmona. I know he's had a great spring, but I'm running from him as quickly as possible. If you got him, look to move him as soon as he has a good start or 2. I don't think he's going to be able to continue it for the entirety of the season. Jayson Heyward's the next guy. Jayson Heyward should be fine this year. He should have a decent season, but expectations are so high with Heyward, I just don't think he can meet them. It's almost like if he doesn't go 20-20 and score 100 runs this season, he's going to be seen as a disappointment. That's asking too much from almost any player, let alone a rookie. Heyward can have a good season and still be a disappointment in fantasy minds. Unless you're in a keeper league, with all the hype surrounding Heyward right now, I would seriously consider looking to move him. If you have him on your roster, someone might pay you an awful lot to get him on theirs. Troy Tulowitzki is the third player I'd suggest moving. It sounds a little crazy. Why would I say that? Well, there'll be a piece up at fanball.com detailing some of the reasons for this. And basically my thinking is this. I don't think Troy Tulowitzki repeats what he did last year. He'll get close, but I don't think he does quite as well. Does that mean he shouldn't be a top 30 pick? Shouldn't be a top 3 or 4 shortstop? Of course not. He still should be. I just question whether or not he should be that second shortstop off the board, whether or not he's a first-round draft pick. First 3 seasons in the big, he stole 11 bases. Last year he stole 20. he was caught stealing 11 times last year. Really concerned about whether or not he can steal another 20 bags. I also look for the home run total to decrease a bit. His home run to fly ball ratio really spiked last year. I mean, he might hit 25 home runs with 14 steals. Still be a great season, but again, I don't know if he's worthy of being a first-round draft pick at this point. And finally, Joe Mauer. There's an article on him at fanball.com. People are expecting Mauer to hit 340 and hit 30 home runs this year. I'm here to tell you, he's not hitting 30 home runs this year. I don't care how that ballpark plays. I don't care that he hit 28 home runs last year. He's not going to hit 30 home runs this year, and the reasons for that are many. The main reason being this. His ground ball, line drive, and fly ball ratio last year were virtually unchanged from the entirety of his career. The main difference was last year, his home run to fly ball ratio went up over 20%, more than doubling his previous career rate. In fact, if you take 2007 and 2008, and you add together his home run to fly ball ratios from those 2 seasons, you still end up 30% short of the number he posted last year. He's not going to repeat that home run to fly ball ratio, and with that, he simply doesn't hit enough fly balls to be a 30 home run hitter. Be content with a guy hitting 330 with 20 home runs. Looking for something more than that, you might be disappointed. I'm Ray Flowers, BaseballGuys.com. Thanks for joining me. Let's get ready to play some ball.